Purdue's role as a leading national security and defense university, NATO's focus on bringing more and more innovation into and across the alliance. And it occurred to me while we were talking that we had you, Deputy Secretary, familiar with previously communist Romania. And we had President Meng Cheng familiar with his family and his story from communist China. My family and our story from communist Vietnam. Janice there, Cuba, right? And all of us sitting at the table earlier today talking about how important it is to come together, to partner, and to innovate for the sake of freedom and for the sake of prosperity and security. And that really struck me during that conversation. And as you know, the mission of the Krach Institute is very simple, which is to make sure that technology advances freedom. And it's a simple mission, but it's not an easy one. That's what we wake up and we do every day, harnessing the power of Purdue innovation and engineering, and working together with partners and allies to form as wide a coalition as possible in order to have the speed and the scale necessary to meet the challenge really of our generation and of our century. And so three things that really crystallized for me today, and I talked a little bit about this at the CHIP Summit that Purdue hosted in Washington, D.C. last week, but then I had some thoughts solidify even further today during all of our discussions and what we saw. And the first is that the imperative for us when it comes to innovation and this mission to make sure that technology advances freedom, the imperative is to win. And in order to win, there's three things really that we have to do. And the first is, and this it was so much more crystallized today, the first is that winning requires engineering, but it's not engineering in the sense of STEM and microelectronics. We were just at the digital nuclear reactor. It's not physics and aerospace engineering, but it's engineering in the sense that we have to design new processes for how we work together to solve big problems. And that's what the Tech Diplomacy Institute is all about. We are designing and engineering and innovating on how we work together with allies like NATO in order to secure critical technologies and ultimately secure our freedom. So that's piece number one. Winning requires engineering, but engineering in a different sense. And that's something that the Krach Institute has proven that we can do with our work on the CLEAN network, which Deputy Secretary Giuda was a first and crucial partner in doing. We built a CLEAN network consisting of 60 countries, 200 telecommunications companies, and 2/3 of global GDP to secure 5G. And NATO was our first partner in doing that. So there's a proven model for re-engineering how this gets done. So that's piece number one. Piece number two with regard to winning is it all starts with education. And that's why it's so great to be here together at Purdue, the leading and largest engineering school in the country, in the world maybe, Alyssa?
Yes.
Quickly, rapidly approaching. And we're soon about to launch our Tech Diplomacy Academy. So again, harnessing the engineering superiority and prowess of Purdue, and then with that, bringing in commercial insights. How do companies use these new technologies and commercialize them? And then most importantly, what are the foreign policy and national security opportunities and challenges around those technologies? And we're going to train U.S. and allied diplomats, business leaders, technology leaders, and citizen leaders, not just here in the U.S., but across the free world, in order to mobilize the all of free world movement that's needed to secure critical tech. And so we're excited about the Tech Diplomacy Academy. All of you have a free seat, so please come take our courses. It launches next week. And then the third piece about winning and what's required to win is that, we talked about this earlier this afternoon, is that it requires a mentality of playing to win versus playing to not lose. And I'll put my collegiate athlete hat on. I went to UCLA, going to be a Big Ten school soon. But I was team captain of the gymnastics team. And we've won 7 national championships. And the way that we did that was focusing on how we play to win and play to not, versus play to not lose. And it's fundamentally different, because when you play to win, it's defined by fearlessness. And your focus instead is how do you unleash your superpowers and display that to the world and show it to the world. And when you play to not lose, every step of what you do is defined by fear and timidity. And when it comes to gymnastics, there's no room for timidity on a balance beam. When it comes to great power competition and what's at stake in the 21st century, there's no room for timidity in technology and in diplomacy. And so we have to play to win. We used to talk about, our motto was big, beautiful gymnastics at UCLA. And I talked about this at the CHIP Summit a little bit last week. But for us, instead of big, beautiful gymnastics, what's required to win is big, beautiful innovation, big, beautiful enterprise, and big, beautiful partnership with an alliance as foundational and important as NATO is to the free world and our security. So we're excited to be able to do that with the Deputy Secretary General. We're excited to do that with all of you in this room who exemplify all of the leaders across society that need to come together in order to get this done. And really grateful that the Deputy Secretary has been not only a partner of the Krach Institute since its founding, but even before its founding for a long time. And in perpetuity, we will be partners and friends. You can't go anywhere. And I'll end with this. You know, we've had the pleasure now of hosting Deputy Secretary Giuda in Silicon Valley, in Washington, D.C. last year, and now here at Purdue. And that's always been the vision from our founder, Keith Krach, and Mung Chiang in what the Krach Institute is supposed to do, which is to build a bridge between technology, between Washington, D.C., through here at Purdue, and then with all of our friends across global capitals. And so we're pleased to be able to do that today. So thankful that all of you are here.